We do have breaking news here on CBS News Colorado. The third and final defendant in the deadly rock-throwing death of Alexa Bartell has just ended. The family of Alexa Bartell, in fact, this is Alexa's mom, is currently speaking after that final judgment. Let's take a listen.
Again, that I go through, we do plan to do things that will carry her legacy. She was amazing, and she loved everybody, and she loved God, and she believed in forgiveness and being kind, and we'll carry that, right? We're all working on the forgiveness and moving forward. Yeah. Yeah. Well, she turned 18 and she thought she could get the tattoo, and her explanation to me was, "Mom, it's a Bible verse." And I said, "I understand, but can we get it somewhere hidden? Your first tattoo, can we get a small one somewhere?" And she said, "No, Mom, I want it on my arm because I want people to ask about it, and I want people to see it. It doesn't do any good if they don't see it." So I think that was who she was, and she wanted everyone to know who she was, what she stood for. So, and it is, I don't know the word for it, but it is something we think about always, why her, and then what that tattoo meant, and the situation and everything that's happened. So, yeah. Yeah, we're prepared for the possibility of the appeal. I think that's almost probable. I have faith that justice will be served, and if it changes in any way, I just think that ultimately it'll still be what it needs to be. I have faith that I'm grateful for the DA's office. I'm grateful for all the...
They are a blessing.
Yes, all the detectives and officers and first responders, everybody that's been involved. All their hearts have been so caring, and they've all been deeply affected. And I'm grateful for the judge and the respect he had in the courtroom, and I'm just, if you can have anything be a blessing through all this, it's been everybody that has been a part of it. It's been amazing.
There was talk today about how much focus of the last couple of years has been on those three men. Do you feel like you can start to let that go?
Yeah.
Solely on your daughter?
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's what we want to, going forward, and even at the...
Encourage, yeah.
Yeah, and even at the anniversary back in April, we want to focus on her memory, and we want to just share her legacy and share what she believed in with others. So we want to give back, and it's about Alexa now going forward. So, and I pray for them that they have a change, or that God just touches their life in some way, that and their parents' lives, and that everybody involved should, I pray for everybody. So
No one won.
yeah, no one won in this case. None of it was good. So yeah. You want to say anything?
Yeah.
No. Okay. Thank you very much.
You.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you just heard from Alexa Bartell's mother talking about their daughter, Alexa, reminiscing of who Alexa was, a faith-filled woman with her whole life ahead of her. They said they are glad justice has been served in this case, but that nothing essentially will bring Alexa back. The blessing, she says, has been the support from the community, prosecutors, even the judge, she says. She also said that she prays for the convicted and that essentially nobody won in this case. Now, Zachary Kwok and Nicholas Carolchik, the two other defendants, took plea deals and were sentenced last month. Carolchik was sentenced to 45 years in prison. Kwok was sentenced to 32 years in prison. Joseph Koenig took his case to the jury and was found guilty weeks ago. All three were teens when a 9-pound landscaping rock was thrown and smashed through Bartell's windshield 2 years ago. Now, the judge in this case, again, just sentenced Joseph Koenig to life without parole for the first count, an additional time for counts 2 through 19. The judge said that Koenig's sentence should be harsher than his two accomplices. The judge also says that the court could not comprehend these actions and that the world needed more Alexa Bartells, not less. Again, Alexa Bartell died 2 years ago after the rock went through her windshield and her car went off the road. The jury returned the verdict in less than 2 hours for Koenig's deliberations. The judge just spoke on this. Let's listen into a little bit about that hearing.
This case has been a case of devastating consequences and of tragedy upon tragedy upon tragedy. It must first be noted, among other tragedies, that Mr. Koenig, having committed his crime shortly after the age of 18, will be sentenced to life without parole for what may have been an immature and impulsive series of decisions on a few different nights. It is a tragedy that his parents have endured the pain and heartache of all of these proceedings and of Mr. Koenig's actions, and the pain of knowing what happens next with this sentence. It is tragic, the pain that the victims have endured, even those whose only physical injury was to their property or their automobile. And it is unspeakable. The depth and gravity of sadness, anger, and tragedy felt by Alexa Bartell's family, friends, and community. There really is very little, really no positive that comes out of this series of events and tragedies. As Chelsea Bartell and Ms. Griggs had previously stated as well, the world needed more people like Alexa Bartell, not fewer. Many of us had no opportunity to meet Alexa Bartell in person. And this case has been highly publicized statewide, nationally, maybe even beyond. I know this offers no consolation. One thing that can be stated is that the community, state, the nation, and maybe others got to hear about how Alexa Bartell lived her life, loved her community, stood for her family, and even blessed those who cursed her and prayed for those who mistreated her. Maybe we're all a little better for having known her, even a little bit. Even it's been because of this tremendously difficult court case. The court is hopeful Mr. Koenig can find some meaning at his time at the Department of Corrections, and that his family can heal moving forward. And the court again expresses its deepest condolences to the family and friends of Alexa Bartell and wishes them peace and healing in the times to come. The court's obligation in sentencing is to look at the multiple factors as described in the statute, but largely mitigating and aggravating factors as the attorneys have referenced. It is true that there are mitigating factors present before the court. Mr. Koenig is 18 years old. It was 18 years old at the time, excuse me. He had a lack of any significant criminal history or any adult history. He is a high school senior at the time of these events and had lived at home with his parents. And the court must give him credit for this. The court believes his remorse stated here today. I believe that to be genuine. There are, of course, many aggravating factors, and they, again, do begin and end with victim impact. The events of April 19th, 2023, and April 20th were so impactful, so dangerous, so consequential, and showed such a disregard for human life. The court can only understand a fraction of the impact that's ultimately felt by the family of Alexa Bartell in particular. Being asked a question of why from your children, why did this happen, and you don't have an answer. I've been trying lots of cases for a while now, and trying this case and handling this case for a couple of years. All the court can say is, I don't have an answer either. There is seemingly no answer to these actions on this date. And the victim impact can only be understood. I don't have any words. There's nothing the court can say that will reflect that or show that or reflect how appreciated it is in terms of how the court views it. But all the court can do is reflect back on some of the words it's heard today and in sentencing. Because the most powerful words are those of the victim and her community. That there is no form of justice that will bring Alexa Bartell back. That Alexa chose to believe in the goodness of others. The court hearing the deep, devastating anger within the family, which is entirely understandable. The fact that the first paramedic had to medically retire, as the court learned today, as a result of happening upon this scene that was so devastating. The guilt felt as if happiness were a betrayal of Miss Alexa Bartell. And just the thought of what every single one of those individuals went through, learning what they learned that night. Whether getting a phone call, being stopped at the scene, or having to view it personally. The arguments regarding other co-defendants are entirely fair. And the court would note there is, as it noted before, something more vicious, deliberate, intentional in the throwing of the rock that killed Alexa Bartell than even in the other events. The evidence supports that it's highly unlikely that Mr. Karolczyk threw that rock. Part of what must be considered, the court agrees, is what makes sense in comparison to the co-defendants. Mr. Kwok was sentenced to 32 years and Mr. Karolczyk to 45 years. Obviously, Mr. Koenig must be and will be sentenced to life without parole. One thought is, otherwise, what is the level of sentence for Mr. Koenig's level of responsibility compared with the other two? Court must take into account the speed, the driving by Mr. Koenig, and ultimately, the court concludes that the jury believed Mr. Koenig has a higher level of responsibility than the other two, including likely that the jury believes that he threw the fatal rock killing Ms. Bartell. That's based on the verdicts that the jury has reached. And I think that needs to be reflected in the added sentence as well. In the court's view, therefore, Mr. Koenig's enumerated sentence, in addition to life without parole, should be comparable to, but greater than, that of Mr. Karolczyk and Mr. Kwok. For count 1, Mr. Koenig will be sentenced to life without parole. This is a Class 1 felony. For counts 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, these are Class 2 felonies. Court will sentence Mr. Koenig to 10 years in the Department of Corrections for each. Each count will be served consecutively to the first count and to each other. For count 14, this is a Class 3 felony. Mr. Koenig will be sentenced to 10 years in the Department of Corrections. This count will be consecutive to counts 1 and counts 2 through 6. For counts 16 and 17, these are Class 5 felonies. Mr. Koenig will be sentenced to 3 years in the Department of Corrections for each. These counts will run concurrent to all other counts. For counts 8 through 10, Mr. Koenig, these are Class 1 misdemeanors. Mr. Koenig will be sentenced to 364 days in jail. This time has been served. These sentences are concurrent to all other sentences. And for counts 7, 11 through 13, 15, 18, and 19, these are Class 2 misdemeanors. Mr. Koenig will be sentenced to 120 days in jail. This time has been served. Each of these counts runs concurrent to all other counts. The bottom line is that Mr. Koenig will be sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, plus 60 years consecutive to one another. Mr. Koenig will receive 769 days of pre-sentence confinement credit. Anything else today for the people?
No, Your Honor.
Or the defense?
No, thank you.
Mr. Koenig's sentence will begin now. Court is in recess.
You just heard from Judge Christopher Zenisek there sharing his thoughts about this case. Again, the third and final defendant, Joseph Koenig, has been sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the death of Alexa Bartell 2 years ago. Koenig, it should be noted, was the only suspect that went to trial. The other two took plea deals here. This has obviously been an emotional case for everybody involved. Your reporter Ashley Portillo will have another recap coming up on CBS News Colorado at noon. For CBS Colorado, I'm Brian Flores. We hope to see you at noon.